So keeping all of that in mind, are business owners leaving money on the table? And if they are, how do they revert that?
That's kind of the next phase from a societal perspective, because if you look at what we've built as an infrastructure, and I'm guilty of it, 30 years in the payment space, we've built an infrastructure that makes it so easy for the consumer to use their plastic out of their pocket to pay for goods. Most of the merchants I know, doesn't matter whether they're high risk or low risk, and I do processing for both sides, doesn't matter what side of the house they're on, they want that speed of transaction and are willing to accept the fact that they're not getting full value. And yet everyone complains about the prices they're paying. All right, then stop taking it. Take cash only. Yeah, but I can't do that. I won't be able to make any sales. Well, then stop complaining about the fact that there's a cost of doing business called credit card. And they are leaving money on the table. It would be my belief that most businesses, this is the whole point of the payment process, it would be my belief that most businesses love to complain about the price they're paying, but have no idea what they're paying, what they could be paying, because you're never going to get it for free. Everyone thinks you can, but you can't. And what the value that you're getting. You look at some of the providers that are out there, sure, you're getting a pretty good price, probably not great. Try and call in with a challenge on a transaction on an 800 number that either goes overseas or never gets answered. Talk to me about that customer service. That's where we are slipping up as an industry, as everyone is so busy looking at the front side cost of this. No one is looking at the backside customer service and management of it. Oh, they'll give me customer service. No, they don't. And if you have one chargeback in a merchant world, take any retail or restaurant. If it's X for a meal, a dress, a top, what's your profitability? It's a percentage. It's not 90%. It's more like 10, 5, 15, 30 even. If your profitability is 25% and you lose one transaction to a chargeback, it will take 4 minimal, more like 6 sales to make up for that one loss. How long can you afford to do that when you're not paying attention to the backside of this? And when the ticket gets higher, usually the profitability usually goes up a little bit, but still you lose one big transaction. It could take a while to recover that if you don't have a provider on the back end that's willing to help support and defend against someone who's charging that back. The big buzz right now in the credit card industry, I was just in Atlanta at a conference, is both agentic and they're calling it AI fraud, but they're calling it created identity fraud, where people are actually making up fake people and then doing fraudulent transactions. That's kind of the next wave of what's coming, is all of this identity fraud where it's not even a human being that's on an online doing a transaction. And yet you as the merchant are now stuck with the chargeback because it was my card that wasn't in my hand, or a card that didn't even exist. You shipped out a product and never got paid for it. How long can you do that and stay alive?
Okay. So sounds like there's a trade-off. Sounds like, because of course, I'm in business. I deal with payment processing. Now, I look at the fees that come associated with these are the fees. What should somebody be paying in fees for payment processing?
I hate to do this because
is that a loaded question?
It's a loaded question because Visa and MasterCard, the major card brands, there are like 238 some odd different interchange fees based on what industry you're in. So to say what you should be paying is a big part of what you do as an industry. If you're in the travel industry, that has a different. If you're a restaurant, that has a different. If you're a grocery store, that has a different. If you're a coach, an online coach, that has a difference. If you're taking the transaction online, what I will say is that the fees you should be paying should not be approaching 4 to 6%. They should be approaching 3 to 2%, meaning that it should be lower than higher. Now, if you're in a high risk industry, I won't mention them because this is a family friendly show. But if you're in some of the higher risk industries, those will have a higher fee associated with them because of the nature of the risk component of the type of industry that they're in. But again, those are manageable. You should not be paying 20, 30%, some ridiculous amount of fees because you're in a high risk industry, unless it's dark web kind of stuff. But most merchants are not prepared, capable, and that's, again, the payment process. That's what we're trying to do, is trying to kind of uncover that. What are you paying for it? Why are you paying for it? And should you be paying that level of fee? You yourself, you're paying 5%. You shouldn't be. You're paying 2%, or you think you're paying 2%. And when we do the analysis, you're actually paying more like 4.5%. That's the big trip, is a lot of merchants think they know what they're paying, when in fact, when you pull the sheets and the covers back on a 12-month basis, you find out that they're paying something different than they think they're paying.